Hello everyone, my name is Maria Sanchez Buedo, and today I'm going to be discussing my experience working with individuals with disabilities and why I think my experience should be one that is more common. So let's get started. Before we go in too far, I want to define a key term. I will be saying IDD a lot, and this is going to refer to an intellectual or developmental disability. So, my relationship with the IDD community started in about first grade. It was my first year riding the bus, and someone named Jonathan was on my bus route. He seemed like a pretty cool guy, but he had a disability, and people noticed. They made a lot of fun of him for his disability, and it was the type of things that you would see in movies and think that it's unrealistic because it's too rude or too far out, but this is really what happened. And I was horrified. I immediately started sitting next to him in the mornings and afternoons to ensure that I was there if anything happened. And through this, we actually became really good friends. We figured out that we liked a lot of the same things and quickly started hanging out on the weekends and at lunch at school and even invited each other to our respective birthday parties. So this friendship lasted a lot longer than first grade, as you can see by the date of the picture. This friendship went all the way to seventh grade when I moved from Nashville. And throughout the years, Jonathan introduced me to more and more of his friends, some of which had disabilities as well. And through this, I actually became pretty in touch with the IDD community early on in my life. And from a young age, I learned through this experience that people with disabilities aren't all that different, and they want really just what the rest of us want: a good friend and to fit in and feel loved and valued. Therefore, this set the stage for what was going to happen in high school that would really propel my experience with the IDD community, which was joining Best Buddies. So, when I moved to Nashville in high school, I discovered Best Buddies, and I'd never heard about it before, but I immediately fell in love. Their mission statement stated that they wanted to create one-to-one genuine friendships between individuals with and without disabilities. I thought that was awesome. It was the first time in my life I'd ever seen people my age rally around individuals with disabilities and really make an effort to cheer them on and get them included in the basic things they should be. And I thought it was awesome. It quickly became part of my high school experience, and as you can see, I made a lot of good friends here, both with and without disabilities. These friendships taught me a lot, and they expanded my worldview. For example, right here, Olivia and I became really good friends, although at first the odds were against us. She has Down syndrome and is mostly nonverbal, and if you know me, I talk a lot, so this was just one example of a challenge that I had making friends with people that might have been a little bit different from me. But through this experience and through these high school years of making friends with people that I might have otherwise not been able to meet, I really learned about the common thread of humanity and how, again, we're not that different. It became something that just became more and more evident to me throughout the years. My senior year, I was fortunate enough to be elected vice president of the club, which was a really cool culmination of all my hard work in the club. And one of my favorite parts of that was that I was able to go to the Best Buddies International Leadership Conference, which taught me a whole lot. In the conference, I was able to hear from Best Buddies leaders all over the world, both individuals that had disabilities and that didn't, and the perspectives that were shared were incredible. A really important part of the weekend was the explanation that the goal of Best Buddies is for it not to exist anymore because there would be no need for an organization to promote inclusivity of people with different levels of ability because it would just be so common. So this really got me thinking about the false dichotomy of typically developing and non-typically developing that we have in society. Through my experiences with people with disabilities and without disabilities and everything in the middle since I was a child, I got to have a really cool perspective that I want to share with you guys. First of all, I got to form some really genuine friendships, and there's often a broken arm analogy that's used to describe what you'd be missing out on. Deciding not to be friends with people just because of their level of ability is really similar to deciding not to be friends with someone based on if they have a broken arm or not. It seems really arbitrary, and yes, you might need to make extra accommodations, such not be able to go out to play baseball or stuff like that, but it's definitely worth it, and you don't want to miss out on friends because of that. Secondly, I got to learn a lot about different perspectives through my experiences with individuals with disabilities. Firstly, and most apparently, I learned about the incompleteness of my worldview. Time and time again, I realized that my worldview was not impacted by those that had disabilities until I really made a conscious effort to include them in it. And obviously that's incomplete because I was excluding an entire group of people from my perspective. Furthermore, you get to realize the hardships that people with disabilities might have, and therefore the privilege that you have in your duty to help them. For example, there are things that we do every single day, such as communicate or walk around by ourselves, that isn't something that everyone can do. So therefore, we have to use our ability to do those things to help those that can't, which ties into the ability to lift others up. Lastly, any relationship, and one with someone with disabilities is no different, is going to teach you valuable lessons and wisdom. And one of the things I've learned from a lot of my friends with disabilities has been the value of simplicity and just enjoying what's important in life and not getting caught up in the details. And I really don't think that would be such a core value for me today if it weren't for some of the friendships I had with individuals that happened to have disabilities. So my question to you is, why is my story so uncommon? Why is having friends with disabilities something that is so unique? Again, it's a false dichotomy to separate people into different levels of abilities because we're all the same. We all want the same things: love, respect, a career, a future. We all want that. I hope that this presentation has given each and every one of you an ability to think about people with disabilities a little bit differently and to really think through it yourself and ask yourself what you can do to be more inclusive. And potentially we can look at this issue as a group through our community service project. Thank you so much.